Hello, this is Tim Heidecker. I'd like to take a moment and tell you about my new podcast called On Cinema. Each week I invite a guest on the show and we discuss movies. Some new, some old, some big, some small. It's opinionated, fun, educational, but not too boring, and of course, there's lots of debate. So please, won't you join me each week for On Cinema? It's available on iTunes or at onscinemapodcast.tumblr.com. Thanks for listening.
It's refreshment time, folks.
Taste that beats the others cold. Pepsi pours it on. Taste that beats the others cold. Pepsi pours it on.
I love this movie. I'm Tim Heidecker, and you're watching On Cinema at the Cinema. Quiet on set! Hi everybody, my name is Tim Heidecker, and welcome to the first episode of my new show, On Cinema at the Cinema. It's a web show, it's the first of its kind, where we talk about movies coming out this weekend and give you guys a little advanced knowledge as to whether or not these are good movies that you should go check out, or movies that you should just wait for them to come out in video, or even not even see. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about the opportunity here, and I want to welcome my first guest. He's a film buff, and I'm really glad to have him on the show, and it's going to be fun to talk to him. Mr. Gregg Turkington. Greg, thank you for coming on the show.
Congratulations on the TV series.
Thanks very much. This is our first episode, so we're sort of working out the kinks and having a lot of fun doing it as well. The first movie we're going to be talking about today is called The Man with the Iron Fists.
Yes.
And this is directed by RZA, and it stars Russell Crowe and
Lucy Liu.
And Lucy Liu, correct. I'll do the introductions I'll do the synopsis of the movie. And it stars Russell Crowe, Kung Lee, and Lucy Liu, and Pam Grier. And this is basically, it's in feudal China, blacksmith who makes weapons for small villages. It's a karate kind of movie.
Yeah.
And for a first-time director, it's unbelievable that he was able to get so much footage out of this and shoot so many great scenes. I love this movie. What do you think?
I think Russell Crowe is always going to be someone to watch. When he's on the screen, he lights up the whole room, and this film is no exception. Kudos to Russell Crowe, and we hope we'll be seeing more of him. It's been a while since I last saw him.
That's right, and it's been, I can't remember the last movie he was in, but it was probably a great one. And
Gladiator or something else. He's been busy, probably working on this film, but at last we see the fruits of his labor, The Man with the Iron Fists.
All right, well, if you like martial arts, this is the movie for you, starring Russell Crowe, directed by RZA, and I'm giving it 4 bags of popcorn and 1 soda. Greg?
I like martial arts, but I don't think you need to like them to like this movie. If you like Russell Crowe or Lucy Liu, you'll also like this movie. I'm going to give it 5 tubs of popcorn and a couple of sodas, because it is just that good, whether you see it in 3D, as some did, or 2D, as I did.
All right, well, the next movie on our list is Flight, starring Robert Zemeckis and directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Denzel Washington, John Goodman, and somebody named Kelly Riley.
She was good.
She was great, and this movie was phenomenal. It's got to be winner of Best Picture this year. It's about planes, and it's about a plane crash. Denzel Washington plays a man who is a pilot of planes. I thought this was a great movie. It had me on the edge of my seat the entire time, because it was one of those movies I thought, I don't know how this is going to turn out, and I love this movie. Greg?
John Goodman should be renamed John Greatman after this because he's Oscar-worthy, as he often
And
is.
it's good to see Robert Zemeckis back. Of course, he's made so many great movies throughout
Back
time.
to the Future, and of course the whole trilogy, the Back to the Future 2 and also the third one.
Back to the Future 3.
This was a departure for Zemeckis. If you've seen Back to the Future, that's sort of for kids of all ages. I think kids would be a little scared by this. I wasn't, but be careful when bringing children to this film. That's my warning.
And I love Denzel Washington. He kind of reminds me of Russell Crowe, speaking of the other movie we talked about earlier.
The great actors are all kind of the same in a way, that they have that kind of talent and they know how to use it.
Right. All right, so Flight, starring Denzel Washington, directed by Robert Zemeckis, and it is a great movie. One of the great movies this fall. I'm giving it 5 bags of popcorn and 2 sodas.
I liked it. I would say probably 4 bags of popcorn, but because John Goodman is one of the stars and he likes to eat, let's upgrade it to 5.
All right.
And a candy bar.
All right. Well, I think we should just keep the ratings based on whether you like the movie, and the more not. Based
Well, I
on
love the movie.
All right. So 2 great movies to see this weekend. But if you don't plan on going to see the movies this weekend, Greg here has a new segment. All the segments here are new. It's the first episode, but this one is called Popcorn Classics. Greg Turkington has brought in a VHS tape from his vast collection. And Greg, what have you brought in to recommend this week?
Today on my segment, we're looking at Multiplicity, starring Andy McDowell and Michael Keaton. This is Michael Keaton's finest hour, well, finest 2 hours, or finest.
What is the running time?
100 and...
Usually it says right on the back.
Maybe it's on the tape. 117 minutes, so it is his finest 2 hours, give or take a couple, 3 minutes. Now this film is interesting in that they have cloned Michael Keaton. And for anyone who's ever seen Michael Keaton and knows what a national treasure he is, you would have to agree that having 100 Michael Keatons is not just a great idea for a movie, but would be a great idea for Hollywood, because then we could have him in a lot of movies at once, and that would be a treat.
Right. Well, I wish they had cloned 100 Andy McDowell's.
Well, I think 50 would be plenty for her. She hasn't had quite the career that Michael Keaton has, but the film's great, and I'd like to clone 100 copies of this and give one to everyone I know so that they could have a nice summer weekend at home. Make some time this weekend to see Multiplicity.
Right. All right. Well, Multiplicity, check it out. It must be available in wide release on VHS.
I got it on VHS. I think it's also on DVD.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Greg, for being on the show, and thank you all for watching. Just to go back and look,
you guys like the new segment.
Going to back, the man with the iron fist gets 4 bags of popcorn and 1 soda from me.
And I would duplicate that.
And Flight gets 5 bags of corn and 2 sodas from me. Greg?
It's off the scale for me. I thought it was a great film. I'm giving it the 5, but I'm throwing in an extra tub of popcorn for Mr. John Goodman, who deserves a meal after his great acting job.
Well, thanks again for watching. This is our first episode. We really appreciate you checking it out. Thanks to you, Greg, for being a part of the first episode.
And many more, I hope.
And we'll see and enjoy the film, whatever film you see. So, I think I'm going to go see a couple of movies this weekend. This is a great movie. You're not going to regret it. I'm Tim Heidecker. Great guests, great conversations, and a few arguments. It's On Cinema at the Cinema. Hi everybody, my name is Tim Heidecker. Welcome to another episode of On Cinema at the Cinema. It's a web series where we talk about what movies are coming out this weekend, give you guys some advice as to what we love and what we don't like. So I got a big special guest for you guys today. He's done the show before, and he's a film buff, and his name is Greg Turkington. Thanks for coming on the show, Greg.
Hey guys, always a pleasure to take my seat at the On Cinema screening room. And thanks to all of you who are sending in cards and letters asking to have me on more often.
Well, we got 2 movies, and you might say ladies get in free, half price, or what's the expression, ladies' night?
It's ladies' night.
It's ladies' night. Because we got Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2. which stars Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, directed by Bill Condon, and it's just another one of these vampire movies, I guess, and it's romantic and it's full of these sort of situations, which turns out to be that's very interesting, very scary at times, but also a lot of romance and really well made. So I recommend
Good
it.
soundtrack.
Good soundtrack.
A lot of good songs and good cinematography. If you're a film buff, you notice things like that. It's very misty and murky.
You can tell that they shot a lot of this stuff in the woods and in certain locations that really worked.
Yeah, it's not the kind of film I would normally go see. I haven't seen the previous one, so it's hard to follow the plot. Not a lot of car crashes in this film, but...
I loved it. I thought it was great. Would be a great movie to see with friends. I'm giving it...
Or by yourself.
Great. I'm giving it to Twilight Saga Brown... Saga...
It's the Twilight Saga...
Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Breaking Dawn Part 2.
4 bags of popcorn. And how about you?
I'm going to give it 4 bags of popcorn with reservations that if you haven't seen the others, you might want to brush up on them before you go see this one.
Another one is another chick flick, as you might call it, called Anna Karenina. Starring Keira Knightley, Jude Law. And this is an adaptation about Russians from a book. And it's a classic chick flick, I guess. Sometimes those movies are not great, but this one is. It's about Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy wrote the book, and it's set in Russia, and that's about it. So this is about Anna Karenina, and is very well done, well made. I love this movie.
And it's a period piece, and it's a sort of an important film in that it wouldn't have been possible to make this a few years ago when we were at war with Russia, and there was that whole thing. So it's sort of groundbreaking in that sense, and
Interesting
so I think
to
you
hear.
should see it.
Also interesting to hear the American and English, like Jude Law, for example. I thought to myself, he's not Russian. How is he going to play it? And he ended up doing a great job, being able to do the accent. It's not, by the way, no subtitles required. This is all in English, so you don't have to worry about reading for the whole movie, which sucks. And
Oscars, I think there will be a few. This is the type of movie that Oscar loves to reward, and what greater reward would there be than to get an Oscar? So,
well, if it doesn't win, it's certainly going to be nominated. That's a guarantee.
it will win.
All right, so Anna Karenina gets 5 bags of popcorn from me.
You got to give it 5. It'll be nominated. It will take home a few statuettes, and that's what it's all about.
All right, so now we're going to do something a little different. Since we are making this show in Los Angeles, California, Greg has gone out and made a film here about some really famous locations, I guess, where a lot of famous movies have been shot. So let's take a look at that. It's called On Cinema.
Cinema on Location.
On
It's
Cinema on
our
Location.
newest segment, and hopefully a popular one.
Let's take a look.
Hollywood, California. Every street has a story, and these are but just a few on Cinema on Location. Hey guys, welcome to another segment of On Location with On Cinema. Today we're at a very famous movie site. This is the Cemetery Lake where the film Hot Shots from 1991 starring Charlie Sheen was shot. You may remember the scene. It all took place right here and really hasn't changed. Back to you.
All right, very interesting. I didn't know that. Let's go check out that site if you're ever in Los Angeles.
It's fun to be behind the camera. Of course, I've done the podcast, now the show, and then to get behind the camera and in front of the camera and make a little film like that is a treat.
Well, really, it's almost more valuable than going on one of those Hollywood bus tours. Thanks for watching, and just to recap, Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2 is getting 4 bags of popcorn from me, and Anna Karenina getting the 5 pops.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say 4 and 5 as well. I don't like to just parrot your opinions, but in this case, you're right.
All right. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the film. Yeah, I think that was long.
Anna Karenina Popcorn is not. I didn't really like it. Gotta do the right thing here.
I'm telling you, if you see one movie this year, it's got to be this one. Sorry guys, I can't give great reviews to every movie I see. This one's only getting 3 bags of popcorn. I don't know what movies to see this weekend. Well, we're here to help. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker. Hi everybody, my name is Tim Heidecker. Welcome to another episode of On Cinema at the Cinema. It's a web series where we talk about movies coming out this weekend, and we also try to give you some advice as to whether or not you should go see these movies. A lot of fun stuff going on in our world and cinema-wise. Thank you so much for all the great comments and wonderful response we've gotten from the show. Just happy to help, and we'll hopefully keep making more of these shows. My guest today is Gregg Turkington.
Hey guys. Good to be here.
All right.
And
For
what are
those-
today's films?
Today's movie is called
Frozen Ground.
Frozen Ground with Nicolas Cage and directed by Scott Walker, and it's about a serial killer movie.
It's a serial killer movie with a twist at the end, as I guess a lot of them do. Serial killers are not funny business. That's definitely a segment of society that should be eliminated, which they do at the end of this movie. I wouldn't call it a lot of fun, but it's definitely thought-provoking, keeps you on the edge of your seat. And Nicolas Cage is great in it, and John Cusack also, who we haven't seen a lot of in a long time, but it's good to see him back on the screen and winning us all over, because he's always great.
And Universal Soldier.
But,
Dave
how many, what did you think of the Frozen Ground?
4 bags of popcorn.
I'm going to agree with you. 4 bags of popcorn seems appropriate. Probably no treats to go along with that, because it is a dark, somber film. And then
Universal Soldier: Day of Reckoning, which is another Jean-Claude Van Damme movie with Dolph Lundgren. Another Jean-Claude Van Damme movie with Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren. All right. Day of Reckoning is an action film, and there's a lot of action in it. Everything from overturning cars to explosions to old-fashioned shoot-'em-ups, and it's a thriller. It's probably not for the faint of heart. Probably, and if you've seen Jean-Claude Van Damme, you know what to expect. I thought it was a little bit better than most of his films, but. I'm biased. I own them all. So, Day of Reckoning, I would give that 5 tubs of popcorn with maybe a can of Red Bull to keep you going. Tim? And how many bags of popcorn? I would give them both 4 or 5. And so keep on watching and enjoy the movies.
This is a great movie. You're not going to regret it. You're going to want to skip this movie. Have you ever wondered what movie should I see this weekend? Well, we're here to help. It's On Cinema at the Cinema. Hi, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. My name is Tim Heidecker. Welcome to another episode of On Cinema at the Cinema. It's a new web series where we talk about what movies are coming out this weekend and hopefully give you guys a little advice about what's worth seeing and what's worth staying away from. Every week I bring on a guest, and today my guest, a very cool guest, Mr. Gregg Turkington.
Hey guys, always good to be here as a regular guest.
This week we've got two movies to talk about, and by the way, happy Thanksgiving everybody. I always love going to see movies around Thanksgiving because the family's around, and sometimes we'll just say, instead of doing the dishes after Thanksgiving meal, let's just go see a movie. So we'll all go out to the cinema.
It's fun.
The first movie is a remake called Red Dawn, which is a movie about people who are being attacked by Russians, or in this case it's the North Koreans, and these teenagers fight back, and I won't give away the ending, but it's a happy ending. So they are attacked by Russia, or Korea, and it is a remake, and it's a lot of tension, a lot of action, a lot of great acting, and a lot of fun.
Did you ever see the original with Brigitte Nielsen, I think, was in it? And it's on video. You got to
I've
see
seen
the original.
So that's Red Dawn.
Did you like it better? Or?
I always prefer the remakes because it's a better movie, and you can tell because the CGI and the technology.
And no commercials. When you watch the originals, it's usually on TV, and you have to sit through a lot of commercials. So it's fun just to go to the movies and watch it the way the filmmakers intended.
Right. And they don't cut out the scenes with boobs and curse words and everything, too.
Also, we got to see this one. This was kind of special. We got to see this a couple days before it came out, special sneak preview. And that was the first time I've been to a Hollywood sneak preview, and it was kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times you'll get invited to see whether or not the movie's working, and sometimes they'll change movies like a focus group.
Well, this one is good, so there was no reason to tinker with success.
Right. So I'm giving Red Dawn 5 bags of popcorn, and it's and no sodas.
I'm going to give it 4 bags of popcorn and maybe just a cup of water.
And it's directed by Dan Bradley. So.
And it's definitely a popcorn movie. There's a lot of thrills and chills and spills, and we like that sort of thing on this show. And good cinematography, and it's a long movie, but time flies when you're having fun. I had a lot of fun at Red Dawn, and I think you will too.
And it's REDDAWN, not DON. All right, our next movie on the list is called Life of Pi. And I know you're thinking, dessert, pie, but this is actually the dessert, not dessert, it's the PI from math. And it's based on a book, not Private Detective either. Which I suppose would be a good idea for a movie. Be interesting to see what a PI does.
Have you seen Fletch?
Yes.
Fletch, Chevy Chase.
Or Bogey.
A Bogey.
From the Bogey movies. Life of Pi. Didn't know much about this movie. And this is based on a very popular book about an Indian boy who's trapped on a boat with a lion or a tiger, something like that. And this was a weird movie, for sure. One of the weirdest movies I think I've ever seen. Had a very philosophical touch to it. And I appreciated the acting, and I loved this movie.
Well, with all the animals in it, they could have called it Animal House, too, because it was just filled with animals. And if you love animals, if you're an animal lover, and I know I am, you'll like this movie. I like the Fletch movies better, but I would still recommend this.
You have to admit that it was really weird.
It's very strange, but I've seen a lot of strange movies. One of my all-time favorite movies is Napoleon Dynamite, and it doesn't get much weirder than that. But this one tries, and it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't say it's for everyone. Probably someone that's looking for a sports movie wouldn't like this movie, but the rest of you will. So go check out Life of Pi.
Well, Life of Pi, very weird, but very well done by the great cinematographer, director Ang Lee. And I think this is going to be definitely, got my vote. If anyone's voting for Oscar, this is going to win Oscar. And
It's a little too weird for the Oscars.
I give it 4 popcorn bags. So check it out if you like the weird stuff.
I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn and, I don't know, some sort of strange snack.
How about
Like salt. Have you had those little crackers that are wrapped in seaweed?
yeah, like tofu?
Yeah, no, they're just crackers.
All right. Well, if you can't make it out to the film this weekend, you got too many dishes to wash after Thanksgiving.
You're not working, you should be able to get to the pictures this weekend.
Right.
Because nobody works on Thanksgiving.
We do this segment every once in a while called Popcorn Classics, and Greg has brought in a movie from his home library to recommend. Greg, what have you brought in this week?
I'd say put the dishes in the dishwasher, turn it on, and reach into your video cabinet and pull this thing out, as I did. This is Twilight Zone, the movie. Now, last week we talked about the Twilight Saga, and this is sort of the original Twilight Saga, the Twilight Zone. It was a TV show, and it was very different from the Twilight that we know today. The Twilight Saga came from a popular series of books.
All right. Well, so that was based on the TV show, then the Twilight Zone, and then
The Twilight Zone, the movie, is based on Twilight Zone, the TV series.
okay.
And the Twilight movies are based on books, have nothing to do with this movie, which stars Dan Aykroyd.
All right. All right. Well, if you want to get a copy of Twilight Zone, the movie, check out Blockbuster or the video stores, or maybe it's even going to be on TV.
Amazon.com or eBay is a place you can bid. You place your bid, and if your bid's accepted, then you pay for it. You don't pay for it until then.
All right. Well, if you are going to see the movies, we both recommend Red Dawn and Life of Pi. I gave Red Dawn
5. You gave it 5.
I gave 4 bags of popcorn and 1 soda, and Life of Pi, I gave 5 bags and 2 sodas.
And I gave Red Dawn 4 bags and Life of Pi 5 bags. And watch them both if you can.
Oh, a double feature. Thanks again for watching, and enjoy the film. It's important to remember is these are great movies! When you got movies like Tom Cruise in them, you can't lose. 6 bags of popcorn, 2 sodas. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker. Hi everybody, my name is Tim Heidecker, and welcome to my web show called On Cinema at the Cinema. It is the first kind of show where we can take a look at movies coming out this weekend and give you guys advice about what to see, what to stay away from, maybe even movies that you should just wait to see on VHS or on video or on demand. My guest is a guy who I've known for a while now. He's back. He was on our first episode. And he knows quite a bit about movies. He's a film buff, Mr. Gregg Turkington. Greg, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey guys, good to be back in my seat again.
Seat is for anybody who's a guest of the show. So,
Well, I mean, it's...
our first movie is called Skyfall, and it's about James Bond who goes to test his loyalty, starring Daniel Craig. And it's another example of Bond doing what he does, spying and whatnot. I know you're a Bond head.
I'm a Bond freak, and seeing Skyfall is why we do what we do, is to have the chance to see movies like this and enjoy them, and no one enjoys James Bond more than I do. I mean, anytime you have a chance to see a James Bond film, you've got to see it. They're all great movies. There has not been a James Bond movie that's not a 10 out of 10. This one is no exception. I really loved it. I think it's right up there with the best of the best.
All right, well, so Skyfall, I wasn't as nuts about it. It's still a great movie. I give it 4 tubs of popcorn, and just 4 tubs of popcorn because it's a lot of good action sequences. I'm not a really big fan of the Bond movies myself, but I just don't like. I'd rather watch other movies. I'd rather watch Steven Spielberg movies, which I'll get into next. Anyway, it was a great movie though, and I'll give it 5 bags of popcorn. Greg?
I'm going to give it, 5's the most we can give, so I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn, but I'm going to pack them tight with as much corn as I can get in there, and an extra ladle of butter because I love this movie. It's right up there with the best of Bond.
All right. You could also add sodas if you want. So.
All right, then I'll add 100 sodas.
All right, well, our next movie I was very excited about all summer long because it's return of my favorite director, Steven Spielberg, with Lincoln, the story about President Abraham Lincoln. And it's got everybody in it. Daniel Day-Lewis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Tommy Lee Jones and a number of other people. This movie is about Abe Lincoln, and it's about Civil War, and it's one of the great movies of all time, in my opinion. Could you believe all the amazing things, all the history that's in this movie, and the great job that Daniel Day-Lewis does? This movie just doesn't stop giving back. It really made you feel like you're back in the Civil War times. What do you think, Greg?
I've seen a lot of movies about Lincoln. This was one of the best. Steven Spielberg has come through once again. If you liked E.T., this is a different sort of film. It's more in line with a historical drama. I've always loved Steven Spielberg. I've always admired Abraham Lincoln. It's a good film, maybe even a great film. Not as good as the James Bond film. If you can only see one movie out of the two, make it the Bond film.
Great. Well, I'm giving it as many bags of popcorn as you can, which is 6 bags of popcorn and 3 sodas.
I'm going to give it 5. I'm going to give it 4 because I gave the Bond 5 and I preferred that. I'll give this 4, but I'm going to throw in a roll of Lincoln pennies.
All right, so check out these 2 movies. We both recommend them for different reasons. If you're not planning on going to the movies this weekend, we recommend, it's a segment we did last week that was very successful. Greg's agreed to bring in VHS tape from his library, and let's take a look at this week's Popcorn Classic. So let's take a look at this week's Popcorn Classic.
This week on my Popcorn Classic segment, we're looking at Murphy's Romance, starring James Garner and Sally Field, 2 great actors, or actor and actresses, or an actor and an actress in the prime of their career. She's Murphy. I'm not sure what his character is called. The film doesn't really work. There's no chemistry. The age difference was just a little too vast. So
yeah, I remember seeing this many years ago. Not really like my kind of film, but if you're into romantic comedies, I guess this would be a movie you want to check out.
It's you know what? It's one of those ones you see time and time again if you haunt the dollar bins. So pick it up, give it a chance.
All right. All right. It reminds me of the old saying Murphy's Law, which says anything bad happens will.
And that's funny because I bought this film and I went home to play it and the tape was all messed up and it took 2 years till I found another copy. And when I did, I didn't really like it much. So that is kind of Murphy's Law.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Interesting that you bring that in if you didn't like it. Anyhow, thank you very much. Once again, Skyfall's getting 4 bags of popcorn from me, and Lincoln is getting 6 bags with 2 sodas.
Well, I thought it only went up to 5. But if it's 5 for the Bond and 3 for Lincoln, and it should only be 5 for Lincoln for you because it doesn't go up to 6.
6 bags, and it does go up to 6. Thank you
All
guys.
right, then 6 for the Bond.
Well, so either case, great movies, great weekend to go see movies. So please make sure you go see at least 1 or 2 of these movies this weekend. Thanks again for watching, and thanks, Greg, for being the guest. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day and enjoy the movie. I love this movie. Skip it. You're going to want to see this one in the theaters. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker. Hi, everybody. I'm Tim Heidecker, and you're watching On Cinema at the Cinema. Thanks for watching. This is the webisodes where we talk about what movies are coming out this weekend and hopefully recommending some for you or telling you which ones to stay away from. My guest this week is a film buff, and I'm really happy to have him on the show this week, is Gregg Turkington.
Hey guys, good to be back in my chair on cinema at the movies.
Yeah. Well, listen, thanks very much for coming, and we got
a
couple of cool movies to talk about today.
Very cool.
Playing for Keeps is a movie directed by Gabriele Muccini, and that's with Gerald Butler, Jessica Biel, and my favorite actor, Dennis Quaid. It's a really great coming-of-age kind of movie about soccer and about Gerald Butler really reinventing who he is as a man, and of course a lot of great romance, comedy, and sports. I thought it was really fun. It really took the edge off for me, and it was really a nice, clean, pleasant, fun movie if you like soccer and movies about
Which
soccer.
I do. This is a cool movie. People will like this movie. You know, I hadn't heard of it until I saw the ads and then went to see it, and I flipped over it, and it will be a movie that I will add to my library when it is made available on DVD.
I thought Dennis Quaid was terrific in this. And
I love Randy Quaid too. He wasn't in this, but he's also a very fine actor. There's something in that Quaid blood.
Yeah. Well, Playing for Keeps gets my 4 bags of popcorn.
I'm going to give it 4 bags of popcorn and a hot dog, because that's what you would eat if you went to see a sporting event. And a lot of the movie does take place in the world of professional sports.
Our second movie is, it's kind of a coincidence because a few weeks ago, we were talking about another movie about presidents. This one is called Hyde Park of the Hudson, about another famous U.S. president named Franklin Roosevelt. And it stars, surprisingly, Bill Murray as President President Franklin D. Roosevelt. President Franklin Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not Frank FDR. Yeah, of course. What was I thinking? Oh, so it stars
Bill Murray.
Stars Bill Murray, and people are thinking, well, is it a comedy? No, it's not, but it has a lot of great heart to it. This movie blew me away. I thought it was so funny, not funny, but well done. And Roosevelt was one of our first presidents.
Well, he wasn't one of the first. He was one of the best, and Bill Murray's one of our best actors. And so it makes sense that they would come together in this.
Excuse me.
And this is no meatballs. It's not a gross out comedy. It's actually a very serious film about a very serious issue.
It was always funny to see Roosevelt with the cigarette and the cigarette holder. And I thought Bill Murray was going to ham it up a little more than he did. And I'm also going to add that I think this is your movie to win the Oscars. At least Bill Murray.
It's always been a bone of contention with me that there isn't a Best Actor in a Comedy award. And if there was one, Bill Murray, I think, would have a whole mantelpiece covered with these things. But when he does get dramatic, which he does very well, in every case, I think he's deserved the Oscar. And I think this is finally the year where he's going to get one. And thank God for that.
It will be Oscar's Sweet
Director.
Revenge.
The director could probably win for this.
Roger Mitchell. And it will
Bill
be
Murray
Oscar's,
should have won before.
It'll
but-
be Oscar's Sweet Revenge that he wins Best Actor when he was not nominated for other movies that he was in. That's our movies this week. Both great movies. Check them out. Different movies. But we really did enjoy both of them. Right now, we're going to show you guys
5 tubs of, or how many?
Just let me finish. Let me get to the on-location segment that you want me to do. All right, we did this a few weeks ago. It was such a successful segment. We're doing it again. Greg has asked to go and do this, and it's a segment called On Cinema on Location.
Very proud of these.
Hollywood, California. Every street has a story, and these are but just a few on Cinema on Location. Hey guys, welcome to another segment of On Cinema's On Location. The segment where we take a look at famous locations from great movies and classic movies. Today we're looking at the hotel that was seen in the movie Moment by Moment, starring John Travolta and Lily Tomlin. If you've seen the movie, you know that this hotel is where John Travolta's buddy Greg lives, and where Lily Tomlin comes to try to find John Travolta after a spat. So it's a classic movie, classic location. Back to you, Tim.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Greg, for that report. And one more time, Playing for Keeps gets 4 bags of popcorn from me.
I will give it 4 as well.
And Hyde Park on Hudson getting 5 bags of popcorn with 2 sodas from me.
5 bags of popcorn and as many Oscars as you can give. Director, film, actor, actress, screenplay, and even the score was quite good.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Good to be here.
And we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the film. This one's actually pretty different than I was expecting.
Yeah. Well, it's Bill Murray. It's
No World War II.
it's
Ah, man, this movie had it all. It had action, drama, comedy, suspense, and dance. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker. Hi, everybody. My name is Tim Heidecker. I'm the host of On Cinema at the Cinema. It's the only webisode show where we tell you what's coming out in the theaters this weekend and also tell you what movies to check out and also maybe what movies you could skip. My guest this week is film buff, film historian, guy that knows a lot about movies. It's a lot of fun to talk to him. His name is Gregg Turkington.
Hey Tim, hey guys. It's great to be here, especially this week when we're covering a couple of what I think are going to be the...
Let me introduce the movies.
Okay.
The movies this week, I gotta say, we should have 2 episodes for this episode because of how big the movies are.
Well, we should.
But we won't. This one is just so big. It's called Hobbit, with an unexpected, The Hobbit and Unexpected Journey for 3D and IMAX. I mean, I tell you, I am such a fan of these Lord of the Rings movies, and this one just keeps the energy of the movies going. It's classic, and I thought that this was just a terrific movie, and loved it.
And I'll give you my one-word review, and then we'll dig into it a little bit deeper. My one-word review is, finally. Because I've been waiting for this film. When the Lord of the Rings series ended, it was a blow. We felt like, well, this is sort of our era coming to a close, and what next? And I'm sort of a Hobbit freak, and so when I heard that they were going to do this, I got very, very excited, started counting the days, Xing out the days on the calendar until The Hobbit would finally be made reality, and it has, and I couldn't be happier with the results. This is fun, and I saw it on the big IMAX screen, but I would watch it again on the smallest screen available. I mean, any size, you're going to love this film.
It's great. You got Peter Jackson's back at the helm. You got Morgan Freeman, Ian McKellen.
It's Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman, Egan McKellen, Richard Armitage, and
of course the big star Bilbo Baggins, the Hobbit himself. And that's what really makes this movie rock and roll. He's sort of a personal hero of mine, and to see him fully realized like this, it makes your heart skip a beat. It really does.
Oh, yeah. I'm watching this movie, and this is the way I felt during Lord of the Rings, was how do they do all that special effects? In other words, the people that are tiny, short, small hobbits versus the tall humans, all the technology that goes into making this movie kind of makes you go...
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't too worried about the details, the nitty-gritty, the nuts and bolts. I'm just sitting back with some popcorn enjoying the film, and that's the way you should do it too.
Well, it's fantastic. You don't need to know about the story. This is the original. In
fact, know the story. If you haven't read The Hobbit, what hole have you been living in? A Hobbit hole?
But if I have to say one thing about this is, if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings yet, don't bother yet. See Hobbit first, because it is a prequel, and then see rest of Lord of the Rings.
And see them on the IMAX, because I don't know if there's one in your area. It gives you a real, you can feel it in your bones, the big sound system, and visually, it's like you're there in Middle-earth with Bilbo and the gang. It's great.
And what about the dragon Smaug, S-M-A-U-G?
Well, I mean, he's one of the classic characters of literature.
Yeah, what a
to
villain,
see him on a screen like this.
So I'm saying this right now, and everybody better be listening. This is the best film of the year. It's going to win Oscar. It'll win Best Picture. There's no question about it because Jackson's done it again. He is like the king. If Michael Jackson's the king of pop, then I'll say Peter Jackson is the king of movies.
And he's got some Oscars already. So once you break that barrier, they're willing to keep dishing them out, especially when you make films that are this audience friendly and this Oscar friendly.
Yeah. Great. So we have Hobbit, Unexpected Journey, Unexpected Journey. I'm giving it 6 bags of popcorns and 6 cans of soda. Cups of soda.
Well, the scale only goes up to 5, but I'll give it 5 bags of popcorn and a big Hobbit hug.
All right. Well, the other movie we had is Les Miserables, Les Mis, I guess you can call it, and that's I also give that 5 popcorn bags.
Yeah, 4 or 5, whatever. Great music.
Okay, let's just jump into while we have time, the popcorn classic we have.
Popcorn Classic this week is George Burns in 18 Again. It's a delight for all ages. I can't stop laughing. I love this movie.
All right, thanks again for watching and enjoy the film. This is a great movie. It's one of those little switch movies.
Yeah.
The one with Dudley. 3 bags of popcorn, 4 bags of popcorn, 5 bags of popcorn, 5 bags of popcorn, 2 sodas. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker. Hi everybody, this is Tim Heidecker and you're watching On Cinema at the Cinema. It's a weekly it's actually not a podcast, it's a websode, where we talk about what movies are coming out this weekend, and we also give you some advice whether or not you should see them or not. My guest this week is Mr. Gregg Turkington. Greg, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey guys, glad to be of service, giving some insights and behind-the-scenes information on some of the new movies. And good to be here with you, Tim, and also good to be showing one of my short films later in this episode.
Well, let's not cut to that yet. All right. Movie first. The first movie we're going to talk about is Zero Dark 30, which is a documentary about the hunt for Osama bin Laden, one of the original bad guys in cinema and in the world. And as we all remember, so many years ago, a couple years ago, we had the death of Osama bin Laden, killed in action after we spent years hunting him for the murder of 9/11 and who is responsible for terrible terror, and about the men and women who did take him out and killed him, and all the work that went into going through that with the Navy SEALs and the attack on his compound because of where they knew where he was. And it also goes through somehow the hardships that went through with getting that done, and it goes through to the end. And this was a very important documentary about this killing. Very sobering reminder of
Well, it's not really a documentary. It's they're using actors, and I liked the movie a lot. It was a popcorn movie, but it's history. This film is history, and reliving the history so soon after it actually happened was kind of a thrill, quite honestly.
Yeah, we've seen this in other documentaries where they make a documentary about, for example...
It wasn't really a documentary. It was more of a dramatization.
Mm-hmm. Same thing.
Well, it's a little different, but it's a great film either way, and the guy who played Osama bin Laden was very convincing.
And everyone knew that they were going to nail this guy, Osama bin Laden, this pig. And finally, at the end, it comes. And though you know it's coming, it's still a great surprise. And everybody in the audience that I was with cheered for joy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good film. Definitely brings back some memories, some good, some bad. I would have liked to have seen, if I have any complaint, would have liked to have seen more about Osama bin Laden's life before all this stuff happened, sort of how he filled his days and that sort of thing. And they didn't really get into that, so that's one flaw of the film.
Right. Well, a lot of great acting going on in this. Chris Pratt, Jessica Chastain, Joel Egerton.
These are no-name actors. It's a cheaper sort of movie. They couldn't afford to pay Harrison Ford or Mel Gibson or something like that.
You know, it's interesting. I was watching The Dictator, the great Sacha Baron Cohen movie.
Classic.
And I thought to myself, ooh, wouldn't it have been an interesting casting choice to cast Sacha Baron Cohen as Osama bin Laden? Mm-hmm. And that could have been kind of in the same way that you might cast somebody like Bill Murray, like we saw him playing Roosevelt.
I would not cast Bill Murray as Osama bin Laden.
Oh, no, I'm not saying we cast Bill Murray as Osama bin Laden. I'm saying Sacha Baron Cohen has Indian-looking features. He might be more appropriate for playing that kind of part. And he could have gotten that sort of perfect mix of humor and tragedy, which makes for great movies.
And he might have included more scenes about Osama bin Laden's life before he was murdered, which is what interested me about the movie, in which they didn't really cover.
Great movie nonetheless. Definitely an Oscar contender in my book. I'm giving
Not the bigger Oscars. I mean, that was going to go to The Hobbit. This would be best sound or costumes and things like that.
Well, not costumes. It's just a bunch of rags and camouflage that you can get at Army Navy store.
Yeah, but the guy... yeah, okay, whatever.
3 stars.
Yeah, I'd give it 4 stars.
Like a 4-star general probably had something to do with the
Or,
operation.
you know what? I'm giving it 4 bags of popcorn.
3 bags of popcorn from me. And so changing gears just a touch here, we got the second movie we're going to discuss today called Monsters Inc. 3D. Re-release of original 3D. Re-release of 3D in original 3D. We usually don't do re-releases, but this is a big one, folks. And some people said to me, oh no, are they going to recast the voices? But no, they haven't. Billy Crystal and John Goodman are still in this movie. They're fantastic in it. And so that's a big sigh of relief from a lot of people I know. It's great for kids, but it's also great for old folks and everybody in between. Your thoughts on this one? I loved it.
Osama bin Laden, that film should be called Monsters, Inc. because he was a
Monsters,
total
Inc.
monster. But no, this is something different. This is, of course, the old Monsters, Inc. We've seen it a million times, seen it on TV. No reason really to go to the theater, but...
See, I think you're wrong there. I think it is important to go see this movie on theaters. So go check out Monsters, Inc. I'm giving it 3 stars, 3 corns.
I love the movie. I'm going to give it 5 buckets of popcorn. But watch it on video.
You're crazy. You're wasting your time if you're sitting at home watching this on your shitty TV.
The theater that I went to, the 3D, was not working properly, and with the cost of parking these days, it's not validated.
Money is no object when it comes to great entertainment.
I just assume stay at home, and I love the movie. I love this movie. It's one of my all-time favorites, but I think you're better off buying it. You can buy it on eBay, place a bid, and see what happens. You might get lucky.
No, well worth the money to go see this live with a bunch of friends, and also see with a great crowd.
Well, you
Go
can
see
have
it
your
on
friends
Friday
come
night.
over to your house too and see the movie. You don't always have to go somewhere with your friends.
I'll tell you
And the
what, if
gas
you wanna-
crisis. That's why Osama bin Laden. One of the things that made that movie interesting is you have the gas crisis, and we're tired of the gas prices. How about you save a few dollars? Have the neighborhood kids come over if you don't have kids yourself.
tell you what.
And it's a lot of fun.
All right, well, I give it 5 and 2. So what are you giving it?
5 microwave bags of popcorn
Okay, you
and
got it.
two
All right.
2-liter
Well,
bottles
we're gonna
of
have
Coke
to disagree on that.
with some cups in your port for every kid in the neighborhood, and they can all come over and watch the movie.
We're
Everyone
gonna have
saves
to.
money.
Okay, we agree to disagree, but I think we both agree. Go see Monsters Inc. in the theaters this weekend.
Or at home on your home theater system.
All right. We're gonna cut to another episode of Gregg Turkington's On Cinema on Location. Show that.
Hollywood, California. Every street has a story, and these are but just a few on Cinema, on Location. Welcome to a sad, somber edition of On Cinema, on Location. This edition is in memory of Bela Lugosi, the great horror actor from the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, who you may have seen and loved in movies like Dracula and The Mummy. And we're here right now at the apartment where Mr. Lugosi passed away one sad, gloomy day many, many years ago. Bela Lugosi, the great Bela Lugosi, died right here. Piece of Hollywood history for you. Back to you, Tim.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Holidays are coming up, so we've got some holiday movies coming next week. And until then, Zero Dark 30 gets...
3 bags of popcorn each.
I get 3 bags of popcorn for that, and Monsters Inc. 3D gets 5 bags of popcorn from me.
And from me too, but again, stay home and watch it.
Check that out in the movie theater this week. All right, well, guys, thanks again for watching, and enjoy the film. The whole reason you go see something in the movie theater. Should I see a movie this weekend? This is as good as a movie can get, and it's so great that they're still making these kinds of movies. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker. Hi, everybody. My name is Tim Heidecker. You're watching On Cinema at the Cinema, the webisodes that talk about what movies are coming out this weekend, and hopefully give you some advice as whether or not you should see these movies coming up. Some of these movies you should skip because they're junk. My guest is Gregg Turkington.
Hey guys, good to be here and to be part of the On Cinema family and celebrating another successful episode.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody for their support and enjoying these episodes. And we've gotten a lot of people thanking us for recommending The Hobbit. People were nuts about that movie.
And it's been a big hit.
Yeah, And congratulations to Peter Jackson, the king of movies. Our movie today is called Jack Reacher, directed by Christopher McQuarrie, starring Tom Cruise. And I'm so glad to see Tom Cruise back in the mix. Last year, he destroyed it with Mission Impossible 5. And it was such a fun movie, and I love that movie so much. So good for him. This movie is about a homicide detective who digs deeper into the case of a trained military sniper who shot 5 random victims. That sounds pretty good.
It's an instant classic, and it's good to see Tom Cruise back in the news, not for some of the strange things that he's been involved in, but for what he's best at, which is dodging bullets and dealing with runaway trains, rather than in the scandal sheets where we've seen a lot of them these past few years. And that's not fair because he's a fine actor and has a lot to offer.
Definitely in my top 3 actors, you know, when it comes to the people I love to see. I love Robert De Niro, I love the director Steven Spielberg, and I love Tom Cruise. So I'm giving that one the highest score you can give it, which is 6 bags of popcorn and 6 sodas. And Greg?
I'm going to have to say 5 is the highest. That's, at least for me, that's the highest you can give. And I would skip the sodas. It's a good movie, but
definitely
stick with the 5. It's definitely a popcorn movie.
All right, we got Cirque du Soleil, Worlds Away. If anybody is not familiar with Cirque du Soleil, then you should look it up online because it really is about a circus on ropes and with a tightrope and clowns and the things that you'd see at a circus, but even better than a circus. This is very much like going to see Cirque du Soleil, except it's been filmed and shot and you can watch it as a movie. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too. If you can't get to Las Vegas, I mean, if you're lucky, you can because it's a fun city. But if you can't get out there to see Cirque du Soleil in person, go to your local Cineplex or your local drive-in or just your local theater and see this movie. It would be great on IMAX. It's also probably on the regular screens too.
So I'm giving Cirque du Soleil 5 stars and 5 bags of popcorn, 4 bags of popcorn. And because it is a bit long, and also some of it's in French.
I'd have to give it 4 bags of popcorn. If you like juggling and ropes and the life of a circus performer, I can't recommend it enough. I give it 5 bags of popcorn.
Wow.
And a cotton candy.
All right, so let's move on. If you are going to stay home and watch movies at home, then we recommend this. It's one of our popcorn classics.
Today on my segment, Popcorn Classics, we have Dick Tracy starring Warren Beatty.
Oh, well, I actually have a movie instead that I want to just surprise you with. This is a little surprise on your end. This time I brought in a movie.
All right.
So put Dick Tracy away. Put the dick back in your pants. Can we use that? I don't know if we can get away with that. I brought in Star Trek 4. If anyone listens to the podcast, they'll know that there's been a big disagreement between Greg and I on the plot of Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. Greg seems to insist that Star Trek 2 is where they go back to San Francisco.
Yeah,
but what's
that's
true
right.
is Star Trek 4 is the one where they go back to San Francisco. Listen to this. Kirk and his crew must time travel back to 1986.
You're reading off the card or off the box?
No, I'm reading off the box. Kirk and his crew must time travel back to 1986 San Francisco, where they find a world of punk, pizza, and exact change buses that are as alien as anything they've ever encountered in the far reaches of the galaxy. That's the plot of Star Trek 4. Argument over, argument settled. I have been proven correct once again.
No, Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, is where they go to San Francisco. The voyage home, they go back into space. That's where their home is. That's the voyage home.
No, they're from Earth. That's where they're going back to Earth. The voyage
I don't
home.
think Spock is from Earth. I don't think you've seen anything like that on Earth. And Star Trek 4...
Guys, if you guys know the answer to this...
This is not the artwork from Star Trek 4. This is not the real... There's no hologram. You see, that's how you could tell a pirated
This
video.
is the original...
If you look at a legitimate video like the Dick Tracy video... Oh, this is a pirated video too. Oh no, see? Here's the security seal. There's no security seal.
Well, there is a security seal. It says 1797 right underneath the
That's
Paramount
called a
symbol.
catalog number, so it doesn't mean anything. Anyway, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan is a great movie. I don't know what's on that tape. It's probably Star Wars 2, because that's a pirate that you probably got in Malaysia or something. That's not something that they would sell at a real store here because you go to jail for piracy, and you should. And Dick Tracy with Warren Beatty is also a film that we recommend.
Audience, would you call and write to this guy, this nut here, and tell him that Star Trek 4, if you just watch it, is them going back. It says it right in the movie. It says on the credit title sequence, it says Star Trek 4, and then they go back to San Francisco. It's not that hard to explain.
Well,
Star
it's not
Trek 2 is
hard to
Wrath of
splice
Khan.
something like Star Trek 2, which was the second movie after Star Trek the Motion Picture. They go back to San Francisco.
Star Trek 4 is about San Francisco. Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you next week.
Star Trek
And
2, they go to San Francisco. Star Trek 4, they go home into space where they came
Well,
from.
you're wrong. I'm right. Thanks, and
He's
enjoy the
not
film.
from San
Enjoy the
Francisco.
film. Right here.
There's no hologram. You can give it to Dick Tracy.
It's time to have fun at the movies again. We got great guests, interesting conversations, sneak peeks at the latest films, and I gotta tell you, sometimes we don't agree on everything. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker. Hi everybody, my name is Tim Heidecker and welcome to our final episode of the year of On Cinema at the Cinema. And it's our big holiday episode, and it's also the last episode for a while. What an honor it's been to be able to deliver this news to you and share my thoughts with you about the movies coming up. It's been a lot of fun putting the show together, and I want to thank the whole cast and crew for making it possible, including my guest here, who's with me today, named Gregg Turkington. Thank you very much, Gregg, for being on the show.
Hey guys, great to be here all year long, really. And hopefully I'll be keeping this seat warm through many more successful seasons of On Cinema at the Cinema. In the meantime, I will be teaching film history classes at some of the local community centers in the area.
All right, well, we got a lot to get to because this is the big holiday issue. This week came out Parental Guidance with Billy Crystal. And it's been a while since we've seen Billy on the screen.
Not on my screen. I watch a lot of videos of his.
Well, we got Billy Crystal, Bette Midler, and the great Marissa Tomei. And it is a fun, family-friendly, funny family film about a grandfather finds himself having to take care of his 3 grandkids and using 21st century methods. He soon resorts to an old school style of parenting. Very funny stuff, and I thought this movie was a laugh out loud. Every minute there's a new different kind of laugh, and they really did it. They managed to combine family values with comedy in a way that I haven't seen since probably Monsters, Inc. Billy Crystal at his best. I loved this movie. What did you think?
The whole Billy Crystal, Bette Midler pairing has always worked for me in other movies, and now in this. And you throw in these 3 lovable but difficult kids, and it's just a recipe for fun, especially at the holidays. You know, people don't want to worry about war and bombs and things at the holidays. You want to go with your family to a movie that everyone can enjoy, and in the hands of Bette Midler and Billy Crystal, of course you're going to enjoy it.
Well, I said to my wife this morning, I said, I bet the producers of this movie were pissed when they remembered that there was the movie called Three Amigos, because between Billy Crystal, Bette Midler, and Marissa Tomei, those were the 3 amigos in this movie because of the energy and their comic sensibility and everything.
Well, speaking of the title, I was thinking on my way here that it would be really funny if the movie's called Parental Guidance and then they rated it R. But
I'm glad it was
Parental
rated
Guidance
PG,
is
but
PG.
I'm glad it was rated PG, though, because it is a movie for the kids and for families.
Yeah, no, that's the right rating for it.
Right.
I'm just saying it would have been funny if they'd rated it R.
Not my kind of humor.
Or the 3 amigos could be the 3 grandkids, too.
Anyhow, I'm giving it 6 bags of popcorn and 2 glasses of soda.
I'd say if you're...
And go see it if you want to have a fun, fresh, exciting, family-friendly, fun film to go see this year. Okay, moving along. We got a lot to get through because we want to talk about our favorite movies of the year as well. Django Unchained by Quentin Tarantino. Jamie Foxx, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Don Johnson star in this Western with slaves in it and very violent.
Very violent.
Yes, and not my favorite kind of movie around the holidays. I think this was a big mistake on the producer's part to put this out around Christmas.
Halloween would have been more appropriate because that's when you have all your horror and your Frankensteins and that sort of thing.
It's a slasher movie, but a Western movie as well.
It's interesting. I mean, I like being thrown for a curve, and Quentin Tarantino always does, and I'm going to tip my hat to him. This is a great movie.
It's one of the best movies I've seen all year, and I'm giving it 4 bags of popcorn.
Yeah, I thought it was great. DiCaprio is always great to see. I would give it 5 bags of popcorn and maybe a little toy pistol filled with some soft drink or something, because it is a little
Anyways,
violent.
now it's time when we look into the past and decide on what our favorite films of the past year were, and also the best and worst, in other words. What was our favorite film, what was our least favorite film? Greg, what was your favorite film of the year?
I'm going to have to say The Hobbit. That was my favorite movie of the year before I'd seen a frame of it. I'm just really excited about The Hobbit, and I've seen it now 4 times, and I can't wait for it to come out on some sort of home video format. The Hobbit is like the cherry on the Lord of the Rings cake, and to get more Peter Jackson fantasy at this point in time is a real treat, and I think it's at the top of everyone's list, and it will be at the top of Oscar's list, mark my words.
Well, I appreciate that, and I loved, as you know, I loved Hobbit, but I'm going to go with a dark horse here. Jack Reacher was my favorite film of the year, starring Tom Cruise. I remember when I reviewed this movie, I thought that I loved it, and I gave it a great review, but I didn't give it enough credit, because I went and saw it again, and it is fabulous. It's Tom Cruise's best movie. It's the best movie of the year. I thought that movie was terrific, and I think Tom Cruise should win the Oscar.
It's an excellent film, and I'm not going to disagree with you.
Now, as far as the worst movie of the year, for me, or the movie that I didn't like as much, was Skyfall, James Bond. And I loved some of the scenes with the action, but too many moments in the movie I was confused about what was going on. I hate having to go see Bond movies because I always get confused about who's the bad guy. And there's no reason to be confused when you're seeing a movie. They should always be fun. And Skyfall gets my no bags of popcorn.
Well, that was one of my favorite movies of the year because I love James Bond. That was probably the best of the Bond movies.
Well,
if you don't
that's
like
not
this
an
movie,
argument.
you don't like James Bond,
It's not
because
an
this is one of the best James Bond movies. So
It's not an argument about the movie itself. You just pick what was your least favorite movie. Don't defend Skyfall.
Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise, just not a good film. Just
You gave it a great review when we reviewed it. So that
well, I
seems
saw it
very
again
spiteful.
since then, and I didn't like it. It's just it's amateurish. It's junk.
Well, I loved it. It's my favorite movie of the year.
Wow. You didn't see it then because it's crap.
I saw it 3 times.
Well, I saw it twice, and the first time I thought it was okay. The second time the flaws became apparent. I would not watch it a third time.
Well, all right. I think you're being a little hard on it because I said some bad things about Skyfall, but that's what happens.
Well, Skyfall got great reviews. Jack Reacher, mixed reviews.
All right. Well, I don't know what to tell you. All right. Well, why don't we just disagree to disagree? Let's throw it to another segment on Cinema on Location. Just show that.
Hollywood, California. Every street has a story, and these are but just a few on Cinema, on Location. Hey guys, welcome to On Cinema, on Location. We're in front of the Blast from the Past house. If you remember the great movie from 1999, starring Alicia Silverstone, Brendan Fraser, and Sissy Spacek from Coal Miner's Daughter in a rare comedic role. Blast from the Past. This is the house where Alicia Silverstone's character Eve lived and spent many great moments with Brendan Fraser, the star of the picture. Blast from the Past. And thanks again for tuning in to On Cinema, on Location, and keep tuning in. We'll see a lot of interesting locations. Back to you, Tim.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much. It's been a great time putting this show together for you, and we really do appreciate it. So have a great year, and hopefully we'll see you next year. Enjoy the film.
John Goodman should be renamed John Greatman after this because he's Oscar worthy, as he often is.
I'm slamming him tonight. You guys are dead in the water.
All right, way to go, Donnie! If you will it, it is no dream.
Fucking 20 minutes late, man. What the fuck is that?
Theodore Herzl. State of Israel. If you will it, dude, it is no dream.
What the fuck you talking about, man? The carrier. What's in the fucking carrier?
Huh? Oh, Cynthia's dog. I think it's Pomeranian. I can't leave him home alone or he eats the furniture. I'm watching it while Cynthia and Marty Ackerman are in
You
Hawaii.
brought a fucking Pomeranian bowling?
I brought it bowling. I didn't rent its shoes. I'm not buying it a fucking beer. He's not taking your fucking turn, dude.
Man, if my fucking ex-wife asked me to take care of her fucking dog while she and her boyfriend went to Honolulu, I tell her to go fuck herself. Why can't you board it?
First of all, dude, you don't have an ex. Secondly, this is a fucking show dog with fucking papers. You can't board it, it gets upset.
Hey,
its
man.
hair falls out.
Walter.
Fucking
no.
dog has fucking papers. Over the line!
Huh?
I'm sorry, Smokey. You were over the line. That's a foul.
Bullshit. Market 8, dude.
Excuse me. Market 0, next frame.
Bullshit, Walter. Market 8, dude.
Smokey, this is not Nam. This is bowling. There are rules.
Hey, Walter, come on. It's just, hey, man, it's Smokey. So his toe slipped over a little, you know? It's just a game, man.
This is a league game. This determines who enters the next round robin. Am I wrong?
Yeah, but I wasn't...
Am I wrong?
Yeah, but I wasn't over. Give me the marker, dude. I'm marking an 8.
Smokey, my friend, you're entering a world of pain.
Walter, man.
You mark that frame an 8, you're entering a world of pain. A world of pain.
Look, dude, this is your partner.
Has the whole world gone crazy? Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules? Market 0!
They're calling the cops, man. Put the piece away.
Market 0!
Walter, put the piece away.
Walter?
You think I'm fucking around here? Market 0!
All right, it's fucking 0. You happy, you crazy fuck?
It's a league game, Smokey.
Come on, Twinkle Toes.
You ready to be fucked, man? I see you roll your way into the semis. Dios mío, man. Liam and me, we're gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Let me tell you something, pendejo. You pull any of your crazy shit with us, you flash a piece out on the lanes, I'll take it away from you and stick it up your ass and pull the fucking trigger till it goes click.
Jesus.
You said it, man. Nobody fucks with the Jesus.
Eight-year-olds, dude.